Okay. Hello, everyone. We are going to be moving on today from ARKit, and we're going to be working on, and PDFKit, we're going to be working on app extensions. The first one we're going to start with is the Today extension. Today extension is when you swipe over to the notification screen, and you see these widgets over here with calendars, and really they're good for very quick UI things you can show very quickly in your UI, like common things are like stock prices, weather, upcoming weather, things like that you don't have a lot of user interaction with. Here's the programming guide for this. They're called widgets. Quick access to the information that's important right now. And they're pretty easy to do. So this is going to be kind of our introduction into extensions. And we're going to start off building a really simple one. So we're going to do the most stripped down basic one just to get the idea of how the API works and what it takes to create a simple one. So we'll create a single view app. So this is a normal iOS app, and it'll be a bird watcher. So it's a bird watching app. Save it to our desktop. Now that was just a normal single view iOS application. And nothing fancy here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our project panel on the General tab, and we're going to add a new target. And we're going to add a Today extension target. So add that to our app. You can name it whatever you want it to show up as. This will be like today's birds. Maybe it's, there's a featured bird every day, right? So keep your team and your organization name most likely the same. You're going to want to put it in your same project, and in this case, you're going to want to embed it in the application of Birdwatcher. So it's going to be in our same directory. We're going to actually embed it into our application. Okay. A couple things to notice: that this is built off of a hook of the notification center, and that's why that screen that we were on that showed, put a bunch of different widgets, today widgets, those are all based off of the notification center. So you get a separate target, and you can see it up in the editor up here. We get a whole new folder down here, today's birds. So our info plist gets generated with a couple pre-filled with some things for you. Here's what it's going to here's what the display name is going to be. So it's going to be today's birds. And when people are enabling or disabling your extension, this is what they're going to see. I don't know how much of this is important. I don't think much. Oh, if you go with this standard storyboard and view controller that Apple gives you, because let's see, it basically defaults to the name of the storyboard and the name of the view controller. Or actually, no, just the name of the storyboard. Yeah. And then the storyboard has an initial, same as a normal storyboard. The view controller has a is initial view controller checked. So if you're going to do something custom, or you're going to do something other than the default, you would make those changes down here. Okay. So by default, they give you a view controller and a label that says "Hello World," and we can actually test this out. Grab a simulator and see. Notice in our schemes up here, we have the extension selected. So give that a shot. It's a little bit inconsistent. So sometimes you have to like run it with the extension selected and it'll just work, which, see if that happens. But I'll show you what to do if it doesn't. Okay, it didn't just work the first time. So you can try clicking edit, see if our thing's in here. It's not, so we're just gonna try it one more time. I've seen it work and I've seen it not work, and it's, I don't know. Here we go, today's birds and hello world. So again, we got there by going to our widgets target scheme, excuse me, in the scheme manager up here, and running it. Another way to go ahead and do that is to actually run the app itself. So we're going to run the Birdwatcher app. What's up with that? Okay, so there's our blank Birdwatcher app. And click the home button, swipe over to our screen here of today's birds, and then it's going to show up. If it didn't show up, what you can do is you can come down here, click add, see add widgets, and we're done, and you can see your widget. So all this is doing right now is showing the name from our info P list, showing the default icon, because we haven't added an icon yet. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it just shows the icon from your app, because the extension can't live on its own. It has to live inside of your application. It shows the default width and height, and it shows that content, which is just hello world and a bunch of constraints that constrain it to the middle of the view. So you don't actually control the size of this thing. So it's best to set out, especially now when it's in the collapsed view, you have to work with what they're giving you, and it's best to set up constraints to best position however you want your content. So let's just get rid of that and do something on our own to start. We'll keep it really simple. But let's take a look at the view controller. So today view controller is just a subclass of UI view controller, just like we're used to. And it also, out of the box, conforms to NS widget providing. Protocol lets you customize some of the appearance and behavior of a widget in an app extension. Might as well take a look. If implemented, the system will call at opportune times for the widget to update its state, both when it's visible as well as in the background. Okay. Widget perform update. Should load cache state and the view will appear. So this will get called widget perform update. This gives you the opportunity to refresh your data, and you need to give. They want you to give back a completion handler of this thing called NC update result. So whether you got a result, you didn't, or if there was an error. Widget active display mode to change. So there's an option, you've probably seen it, you can click more or less that can potentially expand or contract your widget. This gets called when did change. So the mode did change. So the person did hit the button to expand or contract it. Okay, so those are the two big methods. So you can see one of them is implemented right here. So did receive memory warning, we're going to get rid of for now. Let's just clean this thing up just so we can focus on what's important. Actually, we're going to need you to load in just a second. So widget perform update. So what you do here, we can see when this thing gets called, but it gets called at various times. You do not control when this gets called. It's when the system thinks you might need to update your content. So you can go to your database, you can go make a web service call. It can do whatever you need to do to get the data needed to show in your widget. And then you have to decide if you got new data, if there was no data, nothing new, or if it failed. So by default, they're just passing in new data. And so this is the other delegate method that we looked at. This gets called when the user presses the more or less button, which we'll look at. We'll do that now. So extension context. So this widget has a context, which we'll look at in a little bit, and you can tell the context the largest available display mode, and there's only two options. There's compact and expanded. So compact is the default. If you set this, you're not going to see the button toggle the size, the more or less. If you choose expanded, you can potentially get an expanded view. So let's take a look at that. So just by setting this extension context to expanded, let's see what you get. Sorry, I'm gonna do straight to the extension. Okay. Yeah, so we got rid of our label, and you saw how it was on the screen for a second, and then it went away. That's because it is cached. The system caches a snapshot of your last, the last viewed state of your widget. So because we set expanded as the widest widget largest available display mode, that automatically gives us this little button, show more, show less. And you can see now it doesn't do anything, but I'll show you how to change that here in just a second. You change that by adding code to your widget active display mode did change. Display mode, it is an enum, so we can switch on it. Active display mode. So it can be either compact or it can be expanded. And this method also tells you what is the maximum possible size that your widget can have. So it's just a CG size. And when it's compact mode, it's that like 110 pixel look that we have right now. So we can just say, and what we want to do is we want to set our, give me 1 second here. Yeah, preferred content size. So we can tell the system our preferred content size for our widget is max size. And if it's compact mode, it's going to be, it's going to be small anyways. If it's expanded, we can do anything up to our maximum size, and that's going to be potentially larger than the compact mode. So for content size equals max size just for now. So let's take a look at what happens when we implement this method. We might as well put a breakpoint here. So we're going to say show more. So, well, you can see, I'm just curious as to why my breakpoint didn't work. Let's print out max size. Try it again. So you can see that it remembers the size from last, it remembers your preference from last time, whether it's in show more or show less. So the system remembers that for you. So we're going to say show less. We can trigger that button because we've chosen expanded. So the new size, because we're going to compact mode, is the width of the phone and a height of 110. And 110 just tends to be the number that's the number of points you get for compact mode. So we're going to set our preferred content size to max size. Now let's tap that button again. Just show more. I don't know why we're not getting called. Oh, we are getting called. Okay. We're getting a width of 359 and a maximum possible height of 528. So if we want to show 528, that's fine. We can do that. And again, you can see that it's pretty ginormous and we get all that space. Just curious as to why my breakpoint didn't work. Not important, but... Oh, it did. Okay, it's because that was on the switch statement, I guess. So we're going to print our max possible size, 359, 528. Go to the case of preferred content size is max size because we're in expanded mode. All right. One thing I'm not completely sure of is this scenario. So if we're in the show less, right, and say, we know we're only showing our today's featured bird, right? Because this is a bird watching app. User clicks show more. I might want to go out to a web service and pull down all of next week's birds and lay them out. But I'd have to know at that point what the size of my view would be after putting all my birds in, so there's not a ton of blank space here, right? So if I had like only 2 birds, I wouldn't need too much space. But if I had 7 birds, like 1 bird for every day next week, then I would need more space. So I don't fully understand how to do that yet, but that's something that I'm personally going to be trying to figure out. Okay, but let's not worry about that right now. Honestly, I don't even think we need this. Let's just print high, because I think by default, when it goes to compact mode, it sets it at 110, whether you want it to or not. But let's take a look. Okay, show more, show less. Oh, no, not true. Okay, so we do need to set the preferred content size. That was wrong. So preferred content size equals max size. All right, sweet. So we understand about the setting this to expanded shows the more or less toggle. Implementing this function and setting preferred content size changes the area you get to work with when the person toggles the button. And widget perform update. Let's play with that for just a second, just to show you guys how that works. Update. Okay. This is a trick I do. I put in 3 exclamation points just so I can filter out all the noise that I get from Xcode, because especially with beta versions, it tends to be a lot of noise. So let's see when this thing gets called. So widget perform update gets called right when the... Ooh, I wonder when you compare it to view will appear. Let's see which one happens first. View will appear. All right, let's test it out. Okay, so it looks like perform update happens before view will appear. Now, say we go, play around with our app, with our phone, we're on a different app. We come back, we swipe back over to the notification center. Ooh, we get both. Interesting. So you get an update me and a view will appear. So both of them will get called when you swipe back over. Okay. And supposedly, I haven't seen it happen yet. Perform update can actually be called in the background when you're on another app, just to give you the opportunity to either call it to your server or do whatever you need to do to update your app. Let's see. Oh, there is a little bit more. Okay. There's, you know what? One thing I'm not 100% sure on yet is extension context. So let's check this guy out. Oh, is this a thing on, right, just on view controllers? View controller can check this property to see if it participates in an extension request. Ah, so this is a property on just a regular view controller. Interesting. Crap, what was that? I don't like how that works. I always just kind of assume, so what I did was I option clicked on extension context, and extension context, I click on it, and then it doesn't just, oh, that time it did just go to it. Okay. All right, whatever. The host app context from which an app extension is invoked. Okay, so this is the extension for our Today widget. So you can tell it to cancel a request. Okay, that's something else we can do. So we can, all right. Okay, so here's something we can do. We can actually open our app. We can tell our app extension, so our Today extension, that user tapped on something or user needs more information. Let's open up the app. So let's see how to do that. We're going to put in a button. We're just going to center it. And luckily, these things work just like normal view controllers. They are normal view controllers. So it makes it really easy to get going with this stuff. Handle button was tapped. Okay. So the extension context has an open URL completion handler. So the way we do this is if we have defined a universal link for our app, so if, just like we could use for anything else, whether it be like a deep link or an app-to-app communication. So if we have that set up, we can open the URL of our app. Not going to get into that right now, but this is a way to, okay, well, the user is looking to do more right now than I'm able to handle in the app extension. Let's open up the app and let them do it there. And you can do things like you can pass parameters along with the URL. So you can even deep link into the app if you're set up to do that properly. Just for now, we'll comment these out. Okay, so another thing we can do, that again is a standard view will transition. So this is a standard view controller method with coordinator. View will transition to size with coordinator. And you get this called as your widget is changing size after this gets called. So let's see how this works. Print. Okay. Okay, so we're going to, here's what we're going to do. We're going to tap the show more. That's going to trigger the size change to our larger size. Then we're going to get the view will transition with coordinator. And if we have something we want to animate, like if we wanted to animate this button to the top left corner, we could animate it alongside with this transition coordinator. So let's check that out. Okay. Okay. And that, I mean, that's a full on other lesson, but you can basically call methods with your UI view animation methods. And you can use this coordinator right here to coordinate the timing of your animations. Animates me. Okay. What else do we want to look at today? Okay, let's take a look at this, specifying when a widget should appear. So if your widget should be visible in the today view only in certain circumstances, such as when it has noteworthy content, use the set has content for widget with bundle identifier method from the widget controller class. This method helps you declare the state of a widget's content, to turn prompts to the system to show or hide the widget. You can call set has content from your widget or from its containing app. Okay, that's good to know. You can employ a push notification to the containing app to trigger a call. All right. So basically, if we don't have a bird today, because for whatever reason, we can just completely hide our extension. Alternatively, we could call out to our web service, see that 0 things get returned, and we could show a special view that also tells the person so they're not wondering, hey, where's my Birdwatcher today extension, because I love that thing. All right, well, I think that was a good basic overview. It's not that hard. And I think tomorrow we will take a look at doing a little bit more involved example. I might have some answers to some of the questions that I wasn't too sure on today. And we can start looking at how to share code between the iOS app and the extension using frameworks. So thanks. Any questions or comments, please let me know, and see you folks tomorrow.